Hey, what's going down, y'all? I'm having some more fun this week with the latest Fractal firmware. We're now on version 16.2. As far as I know, these things are just changing so rapidly. It's kind of crazy. In my experience, you buy a product and just as soon as you got it, there's something else coming out and it's kind of outdated and frustrating that you don't have the newest thing anymore. Well, with the Fractal, I'm just continually impressed that Cliff Chase is putting in all this time to continually improve on the stuff that they got going. The Fractal team is amazing. Thank you guys for just providing endless support and hours of fun on this guitar and this software. In any case, this latest round of firmware brings in something called an improved amp block power tube grid bias excursion algorithm. What in the actual does that mean? I don't know exactly, but I can tell you what it translates to, and that is better tone and best of all, better feel for the amps in the Axe FX 3. So this week I'm having a lot of fun with the Fender Super Reverb, and it's sounding like this. I only meant to play a small little snippet there, but it just sounded so good. I kept going. In any case, this is a really simple setting I've dialed up. There's a couple little tweaks I want to show you about. But essentially, I started with the Fender, what's known as the Magic 6. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but what that means is essentially starting with your volume on 6. You've got your middle on 3. You've got your well, let me start that over. This is a little confusing, but volume on 6, treble on 6, and then your middle is down to 3, your bass is down to 2, and you know those two together, 3 times 2 is 6. In any case, this is a really great place to start with Fender amps. There is a whole reasoning why you do the Magic 6, about how it makes all of the internal elements play better together, cleans up the bass, gives you plenty of sizzle without being harsh. In any case, that's a great starting off point, but as is always the case with this stuff, you want to use your ears and not your eyes. I, again, got that from Cliff Chase, and I'm going to be stealing it a lot because it's just so accurate. Sometimes we get wrapped up in what we think should work so well. These magic settings that we saw John Petrucci or God knows who using, and you know, we plug it in and it just doesn't work for our guitar, our monitors, our setup. So it's a great starting point. I love to start with something like that that's just clean and predictable, and then dial everything in a little further as we see fit, and making those surgical tweaks that help us to play better and feel our music better. So without further ado, let's jump in and see what I got going here. Okay, so here I've got my Super Reverb amp dialed in with the Magic 6 settings, and this is what it sounds like with my neck pickup so far. So pretty good already. I'm going to have some nitpicky things in a moment, but I'm going to take you through some of the other pickups so you can hear how it's interacting with this setting. That one's sounding a little harsh to my ears. I don't know how it sounds over the interweb, but you be the judge. Lots of flavor for sure. So as I said, I'll have some nitpicky things for sure. The first thing I'd like to do is take out a little bit of that harshness. Now this is going to be really a personal touch because for your guitar, your stuff, you might find that these Magic 6 settings are all that you need. You're good to go. Rock on, I salute you. But for me, I got to dial back some of that ice picky stuff as usual. So I'm going to jump into the Axe FX here. And I do have the bright switch on. And I'll just show you real quick what that does. If I take that off, I think it's going to dull things out just a little too much. I'm going to go to position 4, see what that's like. So actually not too bad, but I want that bright switch on for just the right amount of saturation in the higher notes. I'm going to leave that on. And instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to the Ideal tab. This is something I do pretty much for all of the amps that I use, is to dial back the high treble about 3 decibels. We'll check that, and we'll see if that's giving me a little bit more of that flavor that I'm after. It's getting closer, and a little bit of that ice picky stuff still in there. So I'm going to make a further tweak right now. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump over to the bright cap, and I'm actually going to bring that down to about a value of 80 or so. We'll see how we do with that. I'm liking that a lot more already. Again, this is to taste. This really is going to depend on your guitar pickups, your pick attack. Of course, the impulse response using the cabinet model you're using, all of that stuff is a factor. In any case, let me jump over real quick, show you what I've got going for the cab choice. I went with actually the bass guy, the 410 with a 4047 microphone. This is factory 2, number 205. And a couple things I've done there is to bring the low cut up to 80 hertz. And I've brought the high cut down all the way, and this is something I don't normally do, but all the way down to about 6199 hertz. Why? Because again, sometimes those higher frequencies don't really serve the guitar as much, at least in my opinion. That's some really high-endy stuff in there. I feel like we could take that out and not miss it. Again, it's all about your preferences and the feel and the inspiration you get from playing this stuff. That's my preference. I like a nice smooth tone without too much of that, as I said before, painful high-end stuff going on. So back to the amp settings. In the authentic page, I've got 6 on the drive. Bass is 2, and that's feeling a little bit light for my taste. So I am going to bring that up a little bit. I'm going to go about 350 and see if that gives me a little bit more of that thump, that weight that I'm looking for. And there you have it, just like that. That thump, that thud that we need is back in action. I love it. So I'm going to leave this as it is. Input trim is a powerful control. You can really use that, especially in a live context when you might be switching between rhythm and lead. You want to stick out a little bit, but not too much. That's a really cool knob to focus in on, as you may have seen in my last video. A lot of power to be heard from there. Over to the Ideal. That's all the tweaks I'm going to make in this category. I do want to show you in the speaker tab, it's fun to play around with those speaker impedance curves. So definitely check that out. The one I've got going matches with my cab, which is the 4x10. Oh, wait a minute, I'm wrong. It's not the Bassman, it's the Super Reverb. But in any case, I felt that was a nice match for the bass guy. It really does have a nice weight to it, a clarity without being harsh. I haven't done anything in the other tabs yet. One thing I'm going to jump over and do, because I love the sound of it when I'm playing with studio monitors, is to adjust the gain enhancer. My default setting for that I go to is 1.2 with a threshold of -35 or so. That really gives me just a little extra in the lower mids there. So that's about it for this one. Of course, you can add more elements. Some compression might be nice in front of this setup, but I just wanted to give you a rundown of how I'm using it. I think it sounds great. I'm really just so impressed once again with the dynamics that this amp offers. I'm going to show you one more time, just going from a kind of playing hard to playing soft, and see what this does. So really kind of cool when I jump down to my humbucker, it's almost like stomping on an overdrive. It's just got so much more saturation to it. So great amp to use if you're jumping between sounds, rhythms, and leads, and jumping in and out of the spotlight, so to speak. Give it a try for yourself. Let me know if you have any questions, and let me know how this goes for you. I'd love to hear your experience with these amps and firmware 1602. Let me know what's going down with that. If you're having some fun with some other models, I'd love to hear about it. In any case, thanks for stopping by to give this stuff a look and wrapping your ears around it. I'll see you next time.